Well, guys, I was gonna do some preview about I don't know, Jimmy Butler or something, like potential destinations for Jimmy Butler. But then I realized something. Tom Thibodeau is not going to give up Jimmy Butler. I just read the reports just a few minutes ago. He's not giving up Jimmy Butler. So where we stand now is, I'm going to start with Timberwolves. They'll probably have the most to lose in the season because they could lose Karl-Anthony Towns in this offseason and they coming up, and they could lose Jimmy Butler. So, I think it could probably go for a trade for Wiggins, but it's still going to be pretty tough is what I think. So let's keep that in mind. So Timberwolves, I say they have a shot at making the playoffs. I think they could be, as high as the 4th seed, if they put it all together. But if they don't, they're probably going to have a lot of mid-season trades for assets and fire Tom Thibodeau. But point is this, where we stand now, we're going to go to the Western Conference, talk about the Lakers. LeBron is the king of Los Angeles now. So as this goes, Kobe was a star there. He was the drafted star. They've had Magic Johnson as well, drafted into it. But also legends like Will Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol. I don't include him too. But a lot of legends, come there, for free agency or trade. So they're very popular. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, probably the most popular, if we're not talking about Will, so in terms of legacies for the Lakers. So yeah, definitely LeBron is in the vein of all those people I just mentioned. So keeping in mind, LeBron's already a 3-time champion. I mean, he's the most probably decorated star, that they've had since Kobe Bryant. So yeah, that's how it's looking. So I predict they'll be the 6th seed. If I'm saying the Timberwolves, at the least, I'd say maybe they'll be out of the playoffs at least as the 9th seed. But they have a lot of talent for the Timberwolves. The Lakers, on the other hand, I see a lot of young talent and a lot of knuckleheads. Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Michael Beasley, Beasley. A lot of names. Rajon Rondo, who's probably going to cause a lot of drama, I think, with Lonzo Ball in that whole position. I mean, Rajon Rondo is a great player, but he's also, very troublesome at times, very egotistical. But I would say that you guys get the job done. The Mavericks, okay, Luka Doncic, whichever how you say it, they're probably going to be a non-playoff team. But I'm saying, if he could figure it out, we had him for a brief few minutes, but of course we're never really going to get or keep Luka in the sense that, we traded him for Trae Young. But the point is this, Luka Doncic definitely has the potential to be that star guy. Probably a slight bit overrated by his fan base, but I do believe he will be a quality talent. Talking about the Pelicans, they lost DeMarcus Cousins to the Warriors. We'll get to them later. Pelicans, they really lost in the offseason. Rajon Rondo, they lost him. Complemented the team very well with Jrue Holiday, and they've gained Julius Randle, a couple of additions like Alfred Payton, and Joe Jack they also have. So I don't really like the pieces they got. They weren't really building to anything. This has to be Anthony Davis. I don't really have faith in it. It might be the 10th seed, either them or the Trailblazers, but definitely. I do see that Anthony Davis could put on good performances. If he does get help from Jrue, I think that'd be way better for him. And then I would count them, if they really do make like a higher seed, like 4th seed, Anthony Davis gets his first ever MVP. They talk about him a lot. I'm not saying he's overrated. I'm just saying he's understaffed. His team is not that great, but I would say, yeah, he might have a chance to be in the MVP race this year, like he was, or like last year. So, going to that, I want to talk about the Trailblazers. The main source here is that dynamic duo of Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum. Though these two have not gotten better on defense at all, but I want to tell you that offense does win championships as well. So if you combine a night if they both go for 50 points, then if they both strive for the MVP next year, they'll have an easy time in the playoffs. But during the playoffs they had last year, they were the third seed, right? They didn't win 50 games. Remember, third seed didn't win 50 games in the West. It's probably the first time that's ever happened in a long time. So, or probably in reality a 6th or 7th seed last year, but because all the records were tied. But going back to that, definitely the Blazers, if they get like a really good steal, maybe off of a trade, they'll be taken to the next level. But I don't think they'll be able to beat top contenders here. But I really hope Kevin Durant, his interview about how with CJ McCollum, about how those two, they don't think they can win a championship. They're just first round fodder. If it really encouraged like CJ and Damian Lillard, they can make some real noise. Like they can beat the Warriors off of just their own intensity if they feel like it. But the Thunder, going back to it, are a roster capable of being the Warriors in the playoffs, 7-game series. They picked up our old point guard Dennis Schroeder. That's where things get awkward, but I saw Dennis Schroeder. He had probably one of the best games in his career to advance the FIBA League tournament, I believe. But I watched the game. He was really incredible. Dennis Schroeder is going to be potentially a backup point guard, but if Westbrook, he had a surgery, he misses the first half of the season. I think he starts, and Westbrook could be a shooting guard. He's still playing Paul George at the 3 or 4, maybe. Maybe have Andre Robertson maybe at the 4. So, of course, Steven Adams at the 5. But going back to it, I really like that Thunder roster. It's probably one of the best since they've had Harden. Because Dennis Schroeder could give you 18 points a game. That's the main difference here. So, they've definitely upgraded. They re-signed Paul George. I mean, what else is to say? They have a really good roster. The Kings will probably not make the playoffs. We'll probably get a first-round draft pick. Of course, that's what they're probably aiming for. But De'Aaron Fox is really talented. Marvin Bagley, I wouldn't sleep on that guy ever. The Marvin Bagley guy, he's a high motor dude. Could he put all the tools together with his talent? Maybe not. But going back to it, yeah, Willie Cauley-Stein is a very talented dude. I got a few pieces there, but I don't want to take too much time on that. But I'm looking at them, the depth. I want to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies for a second. Memphis Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson is probably one of the most underrated talents from this year's draft. He could actually be like Anthony Davis himself. If he really puts all the talents together, I'm talking about this year, he's working out with Kevin Garnett, a lot of other legends. Like, he has probably the best boom talent, to be great. I wouldn't even say bust anymore because the guy has something. He has experience, talent, and I'd say you put that together, he's probably one of the best big men in this draft class. And draft class with Mo Bamba, draft class with DeAndre Ayton. And I would say DeAndre Ayton right now is the most talented. But if you look at the potential, the ceiling, Jaren Jackson is probably the highest because the three-point shot is so polished. I think, he's been working on that follow-through. But, yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies, they might have to trade Marc Gasol if, Jaren Jackson gets really too good. But I think they can do one of the 4, one of the 5. They'll play together. They could make the playoffs if they really try, Mike Conley he's still an awesome point guard. Might not be as good as he was 4 years ago, but Mike Conley still got skills. So I don't want to sleep on the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies. There's a lot of teams, but cover them all. Warriors, you already know what the Warriors are. Unbeatable. Signed DeMarcus Cousins. 2K don't play those rules. They don't play those rules, man. The Spurs, now they got really good. I want to say they're better than last year, because they didn't really have Kawhi last year. But they don't have Manu Ginobili, retired, but that's still okay. They have Marco Bellinelli, not great defensively, but offensively, the dude is fire. I saw him last year, dude. He was shooting for us, man. The dude is talented. He's underrated. Yeah, they got a lot of shooters on that team. I think more shooters than last year. And yeah, even though they don't have Tony Parker or any of the original people, they got younger. And I do believe that DeRozan is gonna have an All-Star year, of course. So they're about they were 7th to 3rd seed to me. Overall, I think let's talking about the Suns. They had Trevor Ariza. They had a few trades. They don't have a real point guard anymore because Brandon Knight got traded to the Rockets. But how it's looking now, you know, with the injury from or the hand surgery or whatever that was required for Devin Booker, I mean, as of now, I don't think he'll make training camp. He might make a few weeks in the season. So I don't say the Suns are gonna make the playoffs, but they could be, you know, having more wins than they did last year because they were the worst record team in the league. But besides that, it doesn't matter because, you know, in the scheme of things, yeah, they do want that pick. So I'm going to the next team, and I believe the next team, if I really think about it, is the Clippers. Now the Clippers got a lot of underrated talent guys. Lou Williams is the centerpiece of all that. They signed to a big deal, but you cannot. Patrick Beverley, Tobias Harris, dude, they have a who's who of the greatest, like, 6 men coming off the bench. They have the greatest bench in the NBA. I will tell you the truth. They're just like the Lakers a few years ago, except now they have better coaching, and I do believe they have better talent. So they could also make the playoffs. Very, very sleeper team, very underrated. Most people wouldn't talk about them, but I know the talent they have, you know. It's a lot, you know. Even if to trade, you know, Austin Rivers for Marcin Gortat, it's not really a downgrade because they needed that because, again, DeAndre Jordan is on the map. So the Mavs, they kind of got the lift from that, but at the same time, the Clippers also got the lift because, you know, it wasn't the timeline for DeAndre Jordan anymore. They didn't want to pay him anymore. So it was what it was. So I probably didn't name a few teams on here. But if I really think about it, most of the 15 were named. So I'm going to take a pause right quick. How could I forget the Denver Nuggets? The Denver Nuggets had the biggest wins in the offseason. You're like, well, they didn't get any defense. They got this Isaiah Thomas and a few other pieces. They re-signed guys like Will Barton and all that. And Nikola Jokic and all that guys. But those guys are really talented. Okay, Isaiah Thomas is a top 5 point guard in the league. What? No. He's 5'9". But the problem is this. You know, this is a team that probably could trade for Jimmy Butler. You know, seeing as they could also trade Gary Harris. Because they don't really need much at the point guard position. As I said, might even be able to trade with the Suns. Because the Suns do need a point guard. But the point is this. What I'm trying to say is the Nuggets have the best situation in the Western Conference, at least. I mean, they're very young. You know, better ceiling than Utah Jazz, which I'm about to talk about. But the Nuggets are very talented. I definitely put them on the radar for even contending teams, at least to compete against the Warriors. I mean, 6 games, I'll probably lose against the Warriors, but that's still 2 games win, so that's pretty good. That's a big lift for them. They have incredible talent. Michael Porter Jr., don't sleep on that kid. Going through back injuries, but he's going to overcome it. I know he will. Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, unstoppable force and an unmovable object in Rudy Gobert. So those two, man, they're going to do some damage. I mean, you consider who they drafted like Grayson Allen, but he's probably not going to be much of a factor unless he is. Another surprise because I think the Utah Jazz are really drafting well. That's what we can all agree on there. They're drafting some amazing talent. But the point is this, and historically they've always really drafted great talent with Gordon Hayward and Stockton and Malone. But the point is this, you look at all the teams in the Western Conference, you see one name at the top of all that, and that will always be the Golden State Warriors. I apologize, but they are the alpha of the pack. And if you look at the end of the pack, it's teams like the Suns, maybe the Mavs, I don't know, but the Mavs are going to compete. The Suns might just compete too. So a lot of teams in the Western Conference, the wild Western Conference, are going to compete. So it's a very tough challenge. If you're a LeBron fan, I'm sorry. But at the same time, LeBron is probably saying, Western Conference, welcome to LeBron, because he's his own challenge himself. So after years of going to the conference finals, I think like years in a row, we haven't seen an actual finals matchup without LeBron. So he might just beat the Warriors. He's crazy like that. All right, guys. See y'all. Peace.